From a scientific and anthropological standpoint, the modern racial labels black and white are not precise genetic categories, but socially constructed classifications created and maintained by societies over time. Human genetics does not divide humanity into fixed biological races with clear boundaries. Modern population genetics repeatedly demonstrates that there is often more genetic variation within so-called racial groups than between them. The terms black and white have also changed meaning throughout history depending on the culture, government, and political system using them. In the United States, for example, groups such as the Irish, Italians, Jews, and Slavs were not always considered fully white, despite their European ancestry. This reveals that racial classification is not rooted in stable biology, but in shifting social standards, legal systems, and political power structures. A person is not born with a black or white social identity encoded into their DNA, not in the same way they inherit blood type or eye color. What societies recognize as blackness or whiteness is largely shaped through environment, culture, language, media, economics, law, and social conditioning. Music, dialect, fashion, political identity, neighborhood culture, and behavioral norms are socially learned traits, not genetic instructions. For example, a child adopted from Nigeria and raised entirely in rural China may genetically trace ancestry to West Africa, yet culturally identify far more with Chinese language, Chinese customs and values, and the Chinese social norms than with African American culture or with Nigerian culture. Likewise, two individuals both categorized as black in America may possess vastly different genetics, religions, ancestries, languages, and cultural experiences despite being grouped under the same racial label. This demonstrates that race, as society uses the term, functions primarily as a social identity rather than a scientifically precise genetic category. While ancestry can influence certain physical traits such as skin pigmentation or hair texture, those traits alone do not create discrete biological races. When we use the word black, we relate that to our skin color. But when you think about what science teaches, it teaches that skin color itself is largely an evolutionary adaptation to geographic sunlight exposure over thousands of years. So if you go with that idea, then the social meaning attached to those traits is created by society, not biology. The social meaning attached to a person's skin color, hair texture, and all that, that's created by society and not by biology. If race were truly a fixed genetic reality in the way society often portrays it, racial definitions would remain constant across nations and throughout history. Instead, they shift constantly depending on politics, culture, economics, and historical context. Therefore, the scientific evidence strongly supports the conclusion that black and white are primarily social and political identities imposed onto human populations rather than objective biological divisions within the human species. One of the strongest arguments against the idea that black and white are rigid biological identities is the fact that society constantly measures these labels through behavior rather than genetics. In everyday life, people routinely accuse others of acting black or acting white, not being black enough, or trying to be black. The key word in all of these statements is acting. Behavior is being judged, not DNA. If race were purely genetic, there would be no such thing as acting white or acting black. A person's chromosomes don't contain instructions for speaking with certain slang, listening to certain music, dressing a certain way, supporting certain politics, watching certain movies, or adopting certain social attitudes. These are learned behaviors shaped by environment, media, peer groups, education, neighborhood culture, and social conditioning. Even within black communities, individuals are sometimes socially criticized for talking white or being too proper, enjoying rock music or enjoying country music, anime or gaming culture, skateboarding. I remember when Lil Wayne was criticized because he liked to skateboard, or if you like classical music, or even if you like advanced academics or professional career paths stereotypically associated with whiteness. Notice what is happening here. No one is denying the individual's ancestry. Instead, society is policing whether the person is performing the expected cultural role attached to the racial label. In almost all of these cases, no one is never denying the individual's ancestry. They're always policing whether the person is performing the expected cultural role attached to the racial labels that society has assigned to us. Likewise, white individuals are sometimes socially socially described as black just because they immerse themselves into hip-hop culture, adopt certain speech patterns, fashion trends, or dance styles, social behaviors, or neighborhood mannerisms associated with modern Black American culture. And we got a word for them. We call them a wigger. Again, though, nobody believes the person's genetics literally changed overnight. What changed was their social performance and perceived cultural identity. So the moment Billy started acting black, we call him a wigger, but his genetics didn't change. Keyword act. We say, man, you acting white or you acting black. Your DNA don't act, it don't perform. It is what it is. What your race is your social performance. It's the box they put us in. Ain't nothing wrong with you wearing your race proudly if that's what you want to do, but it's something wrong with you not knowing this, what I'm telling you right now. So what this demonstrates is that racial identity as experienced in modern society operates heavily through performance, symbolism, and collective social expectations. Music industries, television, sports culture, social media, film, advertising, celebrity culture, and peer pressure continuously reinforce ideas about how different racial groups are supposed to speak, supposed to think, how you're supposed to dress, vote, behave, and how you're supposed to express yourself. It even goes so far as if you're black and you want to play hockey, if you want to go to the NHL, people gonna look at you kind of weird, man, as a black man and you want to play hockey. So a lot of black kids never even think about going to no NHL or playing hockey, football and basketball. So again, they put you in a certain box. It's your expectations. So this is not really your DNA. This is all external and social, environmental. A child is not born genetically programmed to enjoy hip hop, wear chains, speak suburban English, or wear cowboy boots, or listen to country music, or to use urban slang or adopt corporate speech patterns. These identities are absorbed from the surrounding social environment. Society teaches people racial roles, then pressures them to perform those roles authentically. The very existence of phrases such as "you sound white," "you act black," or "he's basically black" when they dealing with wiggers, it undermines the claim that race is purely biological. Those phrases reveal that race functions largely as a social script attached to physical appearance, with communities enforcing expected performances through praise, ridicule, acceptance, or exclusion. In this sense, modern racial identity behaves less like a strict genetic category and more like a culturally enforced role shaped by history, media, economics, politics, and social conditioning. The fact that people can move socially between these perceived identities through behavior, language, fashion, and cultural participation strongly suggests that what society calls race is deeply tied to performance and environment rather than fixed biological essence. Like and share this video.